And we're rolling. Hello. So today is, what is today? Today is August 26, 2018. And here's your reading. Let me review your question really quick. Let's see. It's about a man I like, just wondering, will this work between us? And then you said, I asked a few clarification questions, and then you said, you know he likes you, but he's hidden his true feelings. His wife died a few years ago, and I think this is what's holding him back. So, and then you said something to basically kind of imply that he's not like open to woo-woo stuff like this. But okay, so the way we're going to structure this is I'm going to do like a standard romantic reading for you and look at the energy between you and him, and then see what comes up to figure out what other cards we might need to pull. So these are the two cards that you picked. I used that 9-digit number that you sent me I used some numerology on it to pick these two cards for you. So this is a tarot card, and I like to save this one to the end, which kind of either sums up the reading or gives guidance usually. And then this is the other card. This is an oracle deck called The Secret Language of Animals that you chose. This is by Chip Richards, and this is my favorite oracle card artist. Jimmy Manton did the pictures, and I like to draw an oracle card at the beginning of the reading just to set the tone and to see kind of what comes up thematically. And you got shark. So you've got shark is perception, fear, focus, and action. So perception, focus, fear, and action. So let's see how those themes get expressed in the reading. Okay, so let's get started. I'm going to go ahead and draw 3 as a foundation for you. One, 2, and 3. Let's see what's going on here. Okay. Oops. Well, this is really interesting based on what you said to me. So I'm just going to review your question one more time. So it's about a man you like, wondering will this work out between us. You know he likes you, but he's hidden his true feelings. His wife died a good few years ago, and I think that's what's holding him back. And I wanted to review your question just because this card, I feel like that card would have been more for him, but it came up for you. So let me go through it, and then we'll see what we think, because I'm wondering if maybe you guys are mirroring each other's energy a little bit. So what it looks like here, you've got the Chariot reversed, and reversals for me don't usually mean the opposite, like some people do. I usually look at reversal as blocked energy. So blocked meaning it could be delayed, it can take a long time, or it's just difficult. So I would say that in terms of your romantic life, the Chariot's all about moving forward. The Chariot is about if you look at the image of the Chariot, there's the figure is sitting in a car basically that's being driven by 2 sphinxes. And one of the most interesting things about this card is that unlike, say, a horse-drawn carriage, which you would control, with reins, the sphinxes are unbridled, and there are no reins. So basically, he's using either his mind or his spiritual energy to guide him on this journey. And this is really a journey of leaving home. You can see that there's a city behind him, and that he's moving away from that. So this is about like going out in the world, seeking what you're looking for, and it's often about a move. So sometimes it's about a physical move and not just so much a metaphoric move. But it looks like you've been setting things into motion lately, but it's either been a long time coming in terms of this romance. It's either been a long time coming, or it's just been very difficult. Now, this could actually refer to a physical move, so I don't know if there's been any physical movement involved in the situation here, but not knowing your situation, I would say it's probably much more metaphoric. Now, this card here is, it's the Two of Swords, and you've got two swords and a major arcana down here. So the predominant energy of your reading is about the element of air. Air is associated with the swords, and air is all about intellectual energy, mental energy. It's about the mind and reason and logic, using your reason and logic to figure things out. And air energy in excess, like when you get up into higher numbered cards for me, often can turn into anxiety or depression. But here we're at sort of the beginning phases of a journey here. Like you've got the 1 and the 2 basically. So now the 2, it looks like the reason why I felt this card was originally from him, as I tell you the meaning, like this doesn't happen often, but it could be that these cards that we pulled are actually about his energy and not yours. So if what I say about the foundation doesn't apply to you, I'm thinking it actually applies to him. But it could be, that's why, but I think like you could be mirroring each other's energy, and you might actually be in the same place on some level. So let me describe these, and then think about, as I describe them, think about how these apply to your situation. So the Two of Swords, twos are about polar opposites and trying to get things into balance. And if you look at the figure, it's a woman who's hoodwinked. She's hoodwinked herself. She's blindfolded herself here. And basically she's sort of in a period of reflection. And so she's things are weighing heavily on her mind right now, represented by the swords. And if you look at how she's holding the swords there with her arms crossed, one of the things to note is that swords in real life are very heavy, like a proper sword, so you wouldn't really be able to do that, or if you could do it, maybe you wouldn't be able to do it very long with your wrists that way. So basically part of the message in the card is that, you know, things that are weighing on your mind, it can be an impossible struggle to let things weigh on you like this. The other thing to notice, really interesting about the card, is that these are predominantly about the element of air, but there's a lot of water in this card, and water is the element of emotion. So I always look at this card in particular as having an emotional component to it, as a secondary elemental element. And if you look at how her hands are arranged, her hands are folded across her chest, and that's basically where your heart is. So to me, this is about basically weighing options and things that are heavily weighing on your mind, and when you're trying to reason things out, they can often close you off emotionally. Like you're so fixated on trying to figure out the solution to a problem using your mind. This could be that you're closed off to your intuition, like something might be going on with your intuition that's not flowing for you because you are so focused on trying to figure something out with logic. So I wonder, maybe this could be you. This could be you in terms of the relationship, trying to figure out how to make this thing work so much that maybe there's an element of something, a message that you could be getting on an emotional level or on an intuitive level that's not coming through because you're using your mind and you're thinking about the problem so much that there's the deeper primal level, like you're sort of your lizard brain might be one way to say it, or your gut feeling. Maybe your mind could actually be masking your gut feelings right now. Now, this is a little bit the way you kind of described how, well, I felt like this blockage is why I thought of your love interest. So I don't know if he is similarly blocked on an emotional level, like the hands across the chest, because of the tragedy he suffered, and he might be thinking about his past wife and whatnot a lot still, and that might be blocking him from being emotionally free, and his heart from being free. But it could be that you're both on the same wavelength, and this applies to both of you. So let me know, I'd be interested to know. However, now, where you're headed is I think there's some new ideas coming your way. So even though you are using your intellect here to solve the problem, and there's like the intuitive emotional blockage as a component of the what's going on right here, the Ace of Swords is there's an opportunity coming. So opportunity, the aces are often thought to be sort of an opportunity that's divinely offered to you. If you look at the picture here, there's a hand coming out of a cloud offering you a sword, so the element of air, the symbol of the element of air. And it's an idea with which you can find success. There's a crown of success here at the top of the sword that's basically floating supernaturally above it, and then you've got the palm frond, which is also, and the olive branch, which are all elements of victory here. So there is, I think, despite the fact that the intellect over here seems to be blocking you off on an emotional, intuitive level, it seems like there is a way to break through on an intellectual level as well to figure out where to go with this problem. Now, all it's saying is that there's a way through the problem, and you probably can have like some ideological or some mental victory in solving the problem. What I want to caution you about is it doesn't say that the problem, we don't have like an actual outline of the problem here. So the problem could be, how do you make a successful relationship with this person? Another problem could be that maybe he won't be open to this, and so the solution to the problem is actually finding someone else or finding a way to move on. So one of the things you have to be open about in tarot is that the solutions might not always be, and the outcomes might not always be the ones you want in terms of the advice. So now I'm going to draw 3 cards. What I'm going to do is I'm going to draw a card for you, a card for him, and then a card of the energy between you. Like, what does it look like on a relationship level? What does the energy look like if you were to be in a relationship? So let me draw those 3 now. Okay, this is for you. This is for him. And now let's look at the relationship energy. Okay. So now you, despite the fact that this is all, this was all down here, we were talking a lot about how the emotions are blocked off. You are actually on a quest for emotional fulfillment. So, so basically, I guess the wavelength in which you feel you are interested in this person and interested in this relationship, you in this relationship, you look like you are basically on a quest for emotional fulfillment. So, all sorts of different cards could come up. Like, it could be like, there might be a card that would indicate that someone's really interested in the stability that the person could bring to the relationship, or the money that the person could bring to the relationship. But you look like you are most interested in emotional fulfillment. And so the reason why I say that with the Knight of Cups is that in tarot, the knights are one of the face cards, and actually he's a page over here. So you've both got face card elements, which is kind of interesting. So the knights in the tarot, if you think about what a knight does, he has adolescent energy. So it's a lot about like passion and being young and full of hormones and stuff. So there's that element. But on a more pragmatic level, what do knights do? Knights go off on quests. If you think about like the medieval period and whatnot. So what is this knight going out on a quest for? He's going out on a quest for the energy of the element of cups, which we talked a little bit about down here with the water. So the knight is on basically a quest for emotional fulfillment. And he's definitely carrying with him like an element of prosperity. There's like fish on his garment here. and the fish symbolize prosperity. So I think that's indicating that this journey is going to be a fruitful one. And interesting, like how we had both like the element of air and water combined in this one card. Here we again have the elements of air and water combined, because although the predominant energy of this card is cups, water, so that's like emotions, intuition, things like that, and romance. You'll notice that he has a winged helmet on, and he has wings attached to his heels too. So there's this card, this knight, this figure has definitely an intellectual and a mental and an element of reason about him too. And if you were to compare his horse against some of the other horses in the deck, he has sort of he's not too gung-ho about this journey. He's going on about his journey level-headedly. If you look at the Knight of Swords, for instance, his horse is booking it, and just like riding off as fast at full tilt, I guess. So that's kind of an interesting balance between the elements here. So that's you. Now let's take a look at him. So I think he's got some blocked energy right now. That's the reversal. So I think he's having a tough time somehow. But he's coming up as a page. So the page is a beginner. And the energy here of the suit is pentacles. So pentacles are basically material stability, stability on the material plane. Pentacles have to do with things like your home, your household. It can do with your livelihood as well, like earning money in order to put a roof over your head and feed yourself and clothe yourself and things like that, as opposed to earning money because of what you're doing being a passion, which would be more of a wand type energy. So I think his struggle right now, where he's coming from, is I'm thinking that the relationship that he was in with his wife before she passed away, I think that his wife was the backbone of the household, and maybe putting, she's the one who kept everything running. She's probably the one who kept him clothed and fed and taken care of, and took care of everything to do with the home, and made sure that there was material stability in the household. Maybe she was even doing the budgeting. And the reason why I say that is because pages, the sequence of the court cards are pages, knights, queens, and kings. So queens and kings, they're older and they have mastery over the energy of their suits. And then pages are the young ones. They're often messengers, like the literal definition of pages. But pages are basically beginners. So I think like he probably is not enjoying so much stability on the material plane as it relates to home life and the pragmatic day-to-day living, probably as a consequence to the passing of his wife. Now, and he's having, and the fact that it's reversed, I would say that blocked energy is that he's having a tough time of it. Now, the energy of the relationship between the two of you, again, it's sword energy. And the sword energy is that, remember when I said earlier that swords, when the energy builds up in swords, it can become anxiety and depression and things like that. To me, the higher numbered swords are often about mental health issues. So this card, if we look at the image in it, she's standing in a marsh. She's bound, but she's not bound super tightly. I feel that both of these cards in the swords are self-imposed restrictions. So one of the big messages here is that you can take the blindfold off. You can take the blindfold off, right? So the fact that there's two blindfolds in the, let me look. A lot of in this deck, and I didn't mention, this is the Universal Weight Tarot. These drawings by Pamela Coleman Smith and Mary Hanson Roberts. One of the things they're known for is being or being androgynous, gender ambiguous. But that being said, we're humans, and humans, we use pronouns of he and she, and we usually try to identify genders of people when we look at them, and so we know how to refer to them. So I usually look at these two figures here as feminine. So I kind of see these as you being the woman in the equation here. So now the figure, it's the Eight of Swords, and so we can see that the figure is standing in a marsh. So again, so here is another element of water in the swords, and it's this one, and this time it's about the water is stagnant, right? Because she's in a marsh. It's not moving. So I think that there's the energy of the relationship between the two of you. I feel like there could be some emotional stagnancy, but that's really the secondary issue here. The primary issue is the fact that, you know, she's hoodwinked, she is bound, and she basically, if you look at the form of the swords, how they're kind of creating a wall, she's basically made herself a part of the wall. So like, she's kind of like created her own mental prison, and she doesn't see a way out. So there absolutely is a way out. Like she can step forward, she can step backwards, but she's actually chosen to create, she's actually chosen to become a part of this wall. So I feel like there'll be some oppressive mental situation, mental energy here where there's a feeling of trappedness, a feeling of being trapped. Now, that being said, if you look at the perspective here, this one sword on the, the left-hand side is in front, is basically in front of her. It's like shorter, but it's all, if you look at where it's staked into the ground, it's basically closer to us, and she's kind of facing it. So she's trying to face this mental challenge. She doesn't quite see the way through yet. Of course, all tarot cards have a light side and a dark side. So the bright side is that she could muster the strength to remove the hoodwink and see the way through, to face her challenge. She can do it. She can move forward. She can move back. She can do whatever, you know, she has a lot of options here. She just doesn't see them right now, and she's choosing, in fact, to become a part of her own blockage. So to me, I feel like the lesson of where he is right now, I feel like part of like, if you want to look at sort of a strategy to like gain his interest, I feel like if you could figure out a way to bring that pragmatic stability of day-to-day life into his life, that seems to be what's lacking, and that seems to be what he's struggling with. That might be sort of an appreciated thing. But the question is, do you want to be in a kind of relationship where, what I'm wondering is, if you want to have a relationship with this person and you become the replacement wife to basically come in and help him where he's having the problems, you know, where the former wife, maybe whatever she was doing and he's currently having problems doing for himself, if you take on that role, it looks like that you might have an energy of feeling trapped in that situation. So I'm just going to look at your question again. Like, it was very short. You like him, wondering if it would work between us. You're wondering if it would work between you. You feel that he's hidden his true feelings. His wife died a good few years ago, and you think he's being held back. I think since you're currently weighing options here, I think like what the message of this reading for you is like, I think you really need to, while you're sitting here trying to figure out what to do, like action, the shark here, like one of the things, like how do I get through the situation? How do I focus sharply on the situation? I think you need to explore more than one path here. Like it sounds like, you know, you said that he seems to be held back, but you know, there's so much bondage here, right? The hoodwinking here, the being bound here, the, you know, the self-imposed like closing off of the heart here. I think one of the things you might want to journal about, if you're a journal type person, maybe you can journal about this, is that, you know, what are your actual options here? The twos are about options and weighing things. So while you're in this period of reflection and you're having this mental opportunity, maybe you can use this sort of like the stroke of insight that's coming your way to figure out why is it that you want to be in this relationship, because like the energy of the relationship looks like it might leave you feeling trapped, emotionally stagnant, yeah, like I feel like the relationship could leave you in a place where you're feeling like there's no way out. But what you're really trying to do right now is find emotional fulfillment and romance. So if this is you, how do you find the emotional fulfillment and romance? I think that's the intellectual task here. With this particular person though, it's just the cards kind of make it look like this would not be a situation where you could be your best self. I think that's kind of the basic message of the cards here. Now, let me go ahead and look at the card that you drew to either, let's use this as a guide or a way to sum up the reading and see what energy you pulled. Ew. Okay, so this was the Tower reversed. So all cards have a positive and a negative message, right? So, and it's interesting, you've got two crowns of success. You've got like the crown on top of a sword here, and you've got the crown on the top of this tower here. And you've noticed there's a bolt of lightning that's broken off the crown. And there's two people who have hopped out of the tower and are basically just in the nick of time, like the tower's in flames, and they've escaped with, you know, basically, well, we can assume that they have their lives right now, but they're falling. Hopefully they'll keep their lives as they hit the ground. So the message of the Tower usually in the major arcana, the major arcana is a journey of 22 cards. It goes from 0 to 21. This is card number 16, so it's not the end of the journey. So this is not the end of the world, right? Basically, usually the lesson of the Tower is that sometimes you need to shake things down to the foundation. The Tower is basically like you've built all of this stuff up, whether it be maybe even mental. Maybe you've built up some mental ideas and things, like, and you have this whole kind of mental structure about the way things should be. And basically something comes along and destroys all of that and breaks it down to the foundations. And so the Tower, to me, this message is that this intellectual opportunity, it looks like something, as you reflect on what's going on here, something that you've constructed mentally. So the Tower, to me, because there's so much sword energy and air energy in this reading, I think that this is like a mentally constructed idea that you have that's of the utmost importance of your life. Since this is a major arcana card, there's something fundamental. It's going to have to be shaken down to its foundations. Now, the bright side of the card is that once you've shaken things down to the foundations and you've broken things apart, you get a period where you can rebuild. And when you rebuild, you can use your past experiences to build an even better tower, right? Or an even better idea of what you need to have happen, or an even better idea about how to move forward. So I don't think this is like, given the way these are resonating over here, I don't feel like this is like some sort of external calamity. I don't think lightning is going to strike anybody's house. I think this is that I think it's going to be a little bit more I don't think it's going to be like instantaneous like that, even though there is this lightning bolt here. I think what it is like this idea that's going to start coming into your head. Something is going to basically make it so that you start to reevaluate, right? You're already weighing things, so I think like maybe you're going to move into a direction of reevaluation such that you can rebuild the idea of what you want out of romance, so that maybe it more reflects this energy and brings you to the success that this knight is going to have on his journey for emotional fulfillment. And again, this didn't look like emotional fulfillment. I hate bad news tarot readings or anyway, but Well, I don't even think this is bad news, right? He's not interested in you. The relationship isn't presently happening. So you can't lose something that you don't have in a way. So I think part of the examination is like maybe you need to move in a different, if I, like the message I would get if this were my tarot reading is that definitely I need to find a way to move in a new direction, and I need to do a lot of reflection on how to do that. And I think that like some idea that I've been clinging on to needs to go. It needs to go, and I need to bring a new idea into its stead here. That's what I would take from this if it were for me. So I hope this was helpful to you. Thank you for letting me read for you. Oh, and actually one more thing about this card too. Like this was about perception, focus, fear, and action. And so I think the lesson of the animal that you chose is that, you know, there's been a lot of focus, and I think, you know, because of the hoodwinking, there's something you don't want to see. So that's the element of fear in the shark. And I think the perception has been blocked again because of the hoodwinks over here. But the last word here for the shark is, you know, sharks are always in motion, right? They never rest because they can't breathe of their own accord. They only breathe when water moves through their bodies. And so that's why they have to be physically in motion to make sure that water circulates over their gills so that they can stay alive. So I would say that, you know, let's tie it back to the animal that you chose. Like, you know, what's the action? I think perception, focus, fear was all about over here. So basically the tower, the reconstruction that needs to be happening in your life, I think that's the action. So whether that be through journaling, counseling, therapy, maybe having some good bottles of wine with friends if you drink alcohol, or, you know, or having some good chats over card games to maybe figure out how it is that maybe you can get some external advice on maybe what you're not seeing over here. And they can help you, because like, you know what, sometimes when you're like, if you're bound, like, yeah, you could struggle out of it yourself, but it's a lot easier if someone else helps you, right? So, yeah, that was the final thing. I didn't want to forget the shark. So I hope this was helpful to you, and I hope you figure out what needs to happen, and take care.